All right, let's dive in. Today, we're stepping inside the kitchen, into the fast-paced, sometimes chaotic, but always incredible world of restaurants. But we're not just talking about the food. We're talking about the human adventure behind it all, where the real, beating heart of any great place is its team. And believe me, it's a wild ride.
So let's start with a question for you. Seriously, think about it for a second. Whether you're running the floor, in the weeds in the kitchen, or you just love going out to eat, what do you think is the single most important ingredient in a restaurant? Is it the perfect cut of steak? The rare bottle of wine?
Well, here's a little secret. The most powerful, most critical ingredient, you're not going to find it in the pantry. The one thing that can make or break a restaurant is a resilient, innovative, and truly tight-knit team. Today, we're going to unpack exactly how you build one.
So, where do we start? Well, we've broken this down into two big parts. And first, we've got to build the foundation. So part one is all about building team resilience. This is about creating that psychological armor, the stuff a team needs to not just survive the pressure, but actually get stronger from it.
Okay, first things first. Rule number one. Let's just be honest, kitchens are pressure cookers. It's a fact. Tempers are going to flare, so the goal isn't to pretend conflict doesn't exist. That's impossible. The real goal is to grab that tense energy and actually use it as fuel for growth.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. Picture this. A brutal service ends. Everyone's on edge. Instead of just heading home angry and silent, they stopped. They actually talked it out right then and there. And that one honest conversation, it didn't just defuse the situation, it basically upgraded their entire communication system.
So, how do you actually do that? Well, here's the secret sauce. You make a simple rule part of your culture. Don't go to bed angry. Or, don't leave your shift angry. You create a space where it's okay for people to say, hey, this bothered me, without fear. When you do that, you're not avoiding conflict, you're building some serious, hardcore trust.
All right, on to the next pillar of resilience. And this one's huge, because nobody's perfect. Rule number 2, offer responsible second chances. Look, in the middle of a crazy service, somebody's going to mess up. It's going to happen. What you do in that exact moment, that defines everything about your team.
This story is just wow. It's such a powerful example. A waiter makes a mistake. The easy thing to do is to come down on him hard. But instead, his manager guided him to own it, to stand in front of his team and apologize. And the result? A total transformation. The guy didn't just fix his mistake, he became one of the strongest members of the crew. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't about being soft. It's about being smart. It means being really clear about what making things right actually looks like. It's about reminding everyone that a mistake by one person affects the whole team. But maybe the most important part? It sends a message that says, I see you, I see your potential, I believe you can do better. And that belief, my friends, is absolute rocket fuel. All right, let's talk about our final rule for building that resilient foundation. And this one might feel a little backwards at first, but I promise you, it is a game changer. It's all about celebrating the effort, especially when you lose.
I mean, can you believe this? This team worked their tails off for a huge award, and they didn't get it. So what did they do? They threw a party. Not a pity party, a genuine celebration. And what happened? They came back stronger, more connected than ever before. Because they weren't celebrating a trophy, they were celebrating the journey, the hard work.
So how do you put this into practice? It's actually really simple. When you don't hit a goal, get everyone together and just acknowledge the work they put in. Buy some pizzas, have a staff meal. Just look them in the eyes and say, hey, we didn't win, but I saw how hard you all worked, and that matters. When you do that, you make sure no one's effort ever feels like it was wasted.
Okay, so we've built a rock-solid foundation. The team is tough. They talk to each other. They can bounce back from just about anything. That's awesome. But a foundation is meant to be built on, right? So now, let's get to the fun part and talk about growth. Welcome to Part 2, Igniting Innovation and Growth.
So our first engine for growth, this one's a delicate dance, but it is so important. Rule number 4, you have to master the art of constructive criticism. Think about it. Feedback is the fuel for improvement. But if you deliver it the wrong way, you can just destroy morale. But if you do it with care, you can inspire greatness.
This is what real leadership looks like. It's not about having one way of giving feedback, it's about being a chameleon. This manager saw that their normal, direct approach just wasn't working with this one person. So they changed their tone,
They adapted. They fixed the problem while keeping the person's dignity and motivation intact. That is surgical precision.
Oh man, I have seen this go wrong so many times. And it really is simple. This right here is the golden rule. You want to crush someone's spirit? Criticize them as a person in front of everybody else. But if you actually want to help them grow, you criticize the specific behavior and you give them the respect of doing it in private every single time. It's that simple.
All right, now for the really fun stuff. Innovation. When we hear that word in a restaurant, our minds usually go straight to the menu, right? Molecular gastronomy, new techniques, but we have to think bigger than that. True innovation is a mindset. It's about looking at everything, and I mean everything, and asking, how can we make this just a little bit better?
And this is just a perfect, simple example. They didn't reinvent food. They changed the plates. By bringing in an outsider, a designer with a fresh perspective, they added this simple, elegant touch that made the whole experience feel more special. It was small, it was smart, and it totally worked. So, how do you get those creative ideas flowing? Well, start looking past the food. What about the music, the lighting, the uniforms? Invite a friend who works in a totally different field to come in for dinner and give you their honest, unfiltered opinion. And always, always remember, the best innovations often come from creativity, not cash. And that brings us to our final rule. This is the one that really ties it all together. This is about creating the soul of your team, that thing that makes your staff feel less like a bunch of coworkers and more like a family. It's about building your own authentic traditions.
I just love this so much. Pretty much everyone in the restaurant industry has to work on New Year's Eve. It's a huge sacrifice. So what did this team do? They created their own New Year's celebration, just for them. Can you just imagine the vibe in that room? The camaraderie? That's not just a party, that's a statement. It says we're in this together, we are a tribe. And the best part is, you can totally do this. It could be as simple as celebrating the anniversary of the restaurant's opening, or maybe a silly Survivor Award after the busiest Saturday of the year. Get the team involved in planning it, and keep it simple. It's really not about the money you spend, it's about the shared memory you create together. So, when you put it all together, there it is. The secret to an unbeatable team isn't some complicated MBA textbook theory. It's a deeply human thing. It's about building a foundation of resilience that's so strong, failure can't even touch you. It's about sparking growth with feedback that lifts people up and creativity that surprises your guests. And it's all held together by creating a real sense of belonging with your own traditions. But underneath it all is the simplest idea in the world. You just have to care. Genuinely care. So look, we have the roadmap now. But any journey has to start with a single step. So I'm going to leave you with a challenge, a question to think about. Don't try to change everything overnight. Just ask yourself this. What is one small, simple, caring tradition you can start with your team this week? Thanks for tuning in.